and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mackenzie and I am a graduate student in Japan. In this video, I want to share some tips about how to get a job as an international student, specifically a part-time job. The first step to getting a job is that you need permission from the Japanese government saying that you are allowed to work and study in Japan. This step is very important and the most important part, so do not skip it. But this is something that you can apply for at the office when you first enter Japan to begin your program, or you can apply at your local immigration office. And after you apply, you will be given a residence card saying that you have the ability to work and study while in Japan. Also, you need to note that you can only work 28 hours per week during the school year. It is very, very, very important that you pay attention to that rule because otherwise you'll have visa issues and you don't want that. You want to stay and to continue your time in Japan. Next, I will detail some of the jobs that international students typically have while in Japan. Jobs include convenience stores, cafes and restaurants, English teaching jobs, university TA positions, and retail work in malls. I, for example, have 2 English teaching jobs because English is my native language. Even if you have an accent or even if English is not your native language, you still will be able to be an English teacher if you are proficient, if you are comfortable in the language. For teaching jobs, I do want to make the distinction. There are English teaching jobs with kids, at preschools, at middle schools, at high schools. There's also English teaching jobs for adults. If you do not like kids, do not teach kids. You're not gonna like it. You can find an English teaching job for adults, and obviously adults are a lot more tame than kids. There's so many adults in Japan that want to learn Japanese. So if you don't like kids, do adults. You also may need to keep in mind how much Japanese you need when you are applying to jobs. So there are some jobs that may require you to be at a native level, and then some you don't need Japanese at all, especially if you're going to be teaching English. In customer service, restaurants, cafes, and retail jobs at malls, you should at least be at a conversational level, about the N3 level minimum. And then probably one of the most important steps that I'll detail in this video is where to get these jobs. So I will list some websites that I looked at for finding the jobs that I currently have. Also, whenever you're just walking about in whatever city that you may live in, look around to see if you see signs saying we're hiring. The options online may not be the only options available. Additionally, never underestimate the power of networking. Within a university program, chances are you will make friends with people that have been there for a semester longer than you have, or for years longer than you have. There is a good chance that these people also had jobs. So in that case, ask your friends, ask your professors, ask anybody that you feel comfortable asking if they know of any job opportunities, especially if you're in big cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto. The closer you are to a major city is most likely the more opportunities and the more chances to find jobs that are willing to employ foreigners. And typically, what is the expected pay for international students? The typical hourly pay is usually from 1,000 yen to 1,300 yen. Keep in mind that bigger cities such as Tokyo may have higher wages. Most students work around 10 to 20 hours a week. I typically work about 10 to 15, but I have worked up to 26 hours in a week. I honestly don't recommend that because it's utterly exhausting. I feel like that 10 to 20 hour is a sweet spot. Because the cost of living is very affordable in Japan, there is not a need for a very high minimum wage. So keep that in mind as a student. Just depending on part-time jobs for paying for tuition may not be the most plausible. You probably need scholarships and savings to help you to pay for tuition costs, rent. Next, what are the required documents for getting a part-time job? Residence card, with permission from the Japanese government. So you need a bank account, or you at least need to be working towards getting one. So if you're a student, your university will walk you through the process on how to open a bank account. Next, you need a phone number. You also need a resume. You may need a few other items as well, so make sure to check the requirements of the jobs that you will be applying for. And just some of the technicalities, this is also very important so that you don't have any issues with your visa. You cannot work at gambling institutions, bars, or adult entertainment institutions. You will get in trouble by the government, and I assume that this would put you at risk with your visa and potentially with your studies. So don't do it. Don't even try to do it in a sneaky way. And just some tips on how to make your job search in Japan a little bit easier. The more Japanese you know, the better. Japanese people, in my experience, are very impressed when you use a very basic level of Japanese, so a little bit goes a long way. Also, apply to multiple places. I think that when I first started looking for jobs, I applied to maybe 10 and I secured 2. So the other ones I just didn't hear back from. I didn't get rejected from them, but they just never got back to me. It's okay to call again, to leave a message, to email again, especially if you really, really need a part-time job. And finally, what are the benefits of getting a part-time job? You get to practice your Japanese ability in real-life situations. I have a close relationship with my manager, and whenever she drives me to work, I always challenge myself to speak with her in Japanese, and she gets to practice her English as well. Additionally, you get to build friendships outside of school. The manager for my second job, teaching adults, she is my favorite Japanese person, like of all time. Of all time, of all time, of all time. She is such a kind person. Whenever I came back from the United States for my summer break, she picked me up from the airport and drove me home, which I feel like she obviously didn't have to do because she's my manager, and she has made my time here in Japan so much easier. This is a relationship that I never would have expected that I would have built with a person. I hope that you can have such relationships while working in Japan as well. Of course, it's tiring balancing study and work, but at the end of the day, whenever I need to buy groceries and I'm not absolutely struggling to buying groceries, I feel like I'm struggling the normal amount as a graduate student regarding their finances. So of course, any sort of financial breathing room is essential breathing room. For those who plan to live and work in Japan after they are done with their studies, of course, any sort of experience that you get now will help you have a smoother transition when you're leveling up to the next job. You may not get the most desirable job that you want at first, but any experience is good experience. That'll put you in a much better position to get these jobs in the future. If you have watched this far, thank you so much for listening. Please hit the follow button, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.